Hello, everybody. Hello. Hope you can hear me and see me. Apologies for the background. I've had some technical difficulties. Welcome to the new News for You podcast. I'm live with you on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, all my social media platforms, including Instagram. I'll be going out in the new year, expanding this. I know it's a bit distracting with the light. I couldn't get the green screen going quite well, and I didn't want to give you a boring background of my bedroom, except for you, TikTokers, because you're my closest fans and I love you. I've got two cameras going on here, so forgive me while I just spin off a little bit. So anyway, in today's show, which is a pilot show, I'm going to be doing these daily at 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. So that's 1 p.m. UK time, and whatever time that is in your country. For those in New York, America, some of my biggest followers here on LinkedIn, that'll be 4 hours behind. Anyway, I've got some things I want to go through today. Should we work more hours in 2024 to gain stability? The dreaded work-life balance. I'll try and talk about that in brief. It's just a really general conversation. Next, I'll be looking at why consumers are cutting back in 2024, cost of living crisis. And those of you that are starting off, mainly for the younger fans, and maybe some of you want to just start a business and you're older, starting a business 2024, some of the basics that you might need to follow. And last but not least, probably my favorite, because that's really my expertise, 5 minutes around a conversation on starting a new gym, keeping fit for 2024, starting a new gym in 2024. For some of you, you might have already started, and that's great. But anyway, let's get into it. So I've got no music. I have to work on that. Anyway, so working more hours in 2024 to gain stability. And I raise this question because there is, for the last 2 years, I think, there's been a lot of debate around the work-life contract, the hybrid contract. And some companies are forcing people to come back to the office, X being one of them. I'm not sure what Microsoft and Google are doing. And getting a hybrid contract, certainly coming out of lockdown, has been very difficult for companies. And, I'm privileged to be self-employed. And even when I was trying, sometimes I do apply for jobs, believe it or not. And certainly in the UK, I think there is a fundamental problem because we don't seem to really want to cater for the individual that's got different needs. Maybe it might be mental health needs, etc. And I don't think we need to work more hours. I think we need to work less, even though, there's like 1 million vacancies here in the UK. In the US, there might be around about slightly more vacancies. So companies are still innovating despite the cost of living crisis and a tight labour market. But I think it's individual reasons that you have to ask yourself, okay, it's a new year, okay, new year, new career. But how many hours do I really want to work in 2024? And I think it's an interesting conversation because I've got, sadly, I've got different medical and mental health conditions, my epilepsy, which I am managing pretty well. And I've got physical health problems at the moment. I don't know what's going on. I've got back to hospital on Tuesday. I'm okay now, but I've got different symptoms. And I think really your health, your physical and mental health has to come into the conversation when you look about what career you want to do in 2024. And also, how do you gain stability? Because stability means that you know what your wages are going to be. And even though starting a business, which I'll talk about in a minute, is going to be great for a lot of you, it's not many businesses succeed. I've been, trying to iron out my brands and probably gone the most, awkward way possible by establishing myself first as a thought leader in emotional intelligence and, kind of in the world, some know the LinkedIn platform. And it's been really hard for me to, build a model that really we're a viable product. And LinkedIn has been difficult ground for me, believe it or not, trying to start a business. So I want something that's going to be sharing my expertise, but also for me to gain stability, so I'm not overworking myself. And I think that's one of the core questions we have to ask ourselves when we look at whether we want to start a business, grow stability, finance around mental health in 2024. How many hours a week are they going to work? And it's that debate whether I should leave my current job, start a new career. How do I start a new career? I've got to retrain. I'm retraining at the moment. On my slowly but surely, it's a long pathway, become a counsellor, and it's not as easy as becoming a teacher, believe it or not. I don't think, purely because there's no real clear set pathway per se, whereas teaching is slightly more easy. But I've got on my journey so far, and I just want to be, I wouldn't claim to be an expert in the field of EQ or mental health studies if I'm not an active practitioner, and I love helping people. So that for me, that's my passion. And I think sometimes, as I close off from this small stability question, we need to have passion for stability, but equally we need to have money and good income. So I know lots of you will be asking yourself, how am I going to have a better year in 2024? What am I specifically going to do? And there's loads of things that go through our minds. And today I've been picking up and reading from the IR paper, 24 things you can greatly do in 2024. Make your bed, go to bed at a set time, all the basics really that we should be doing. But I think stability is going to be the real question for all of us in 2024. And I think we want stability, but where you've got 2 wars in Europe, and if you're a business owner founder, it's even more difficult because you just don't know sometimes what's around the corner. So I'll leave that with you for now. I'm going to move on. Why consumers are cutting back in 2024 are going to be. I mean, I think yesterday, myself and Gary Vee, he did it first on a video, an article about the US economy. Are we going into recession? And there's a lot of experts that say that we might not. 50% chance. This is coming from CBNC News. And I think it's important, especially for those of you who are watching here on LinkedIn, or even who want to start a business. I'd always say to people, you need to look at the market. Yeah, disposable income for a lot of people is a lot less. And for that reason, it affects the buying power of consumers. And you're going to find it harder to get capital, whatever business model you decide to do or make. And I think consumers are cutting back because it's uncertainty about the markets. And companies are cutting back because uncertainty. Uncertainty happens when we don't know where we're going to get our next paycheck, for instance, as a consumer. Or, a lot of people are self-employed. Markets are shrinking. Yes, there's innovation, there's new markets happening. But equally, I always say this to people, the last 2 years, since the pandemic, really, even though there was growth in a lot of sectors when we was able to open up the supply chain throughout different industries, people have got less money in their pockets. The cost of living has gone up, as we know, and I don't think we're going to see a spark in 2020. Inflation has gone on, which is great, in the UK and in the US a little bit, but equally we're all watching our pennies a little bit more. And I think that's something we need to bear in mind, especially for those of you, just glancing over to my TikTok community. If you're young and you want to start a business, you need to really, it's not about your business model always. You have to look at the outside market. And what I used to teach, we don't really hear these words anymore, but a pestle analysis. So you complete your political and economic assessment of the outside forces, the external market, or the macro and micro, which I won't go into too much detail. You need to assess the worth of your business. We all know this, most of us anyway. And that really leads on to my other conversation, which I've really briefly spoken about. Starting a business in 2024. Wow. Yeah. Many of you want to start a business right now, or you've got an idea, and that's great. And my encouragement, and I struggle with this myself, is look at the business model. Look at the market first. Look at your business model. Experiment. Sometimes you just don't know where you fit in the market. And those of you who are trying to get more clients and you're doing B2B or B2C here on LinkedIn, where you've got the world's biggest brands, it's going to be harder, I'd say. AI was the number one word according to, I can't remember what awarding body, last year. And I don't think it's going to change much. But I don't really see when ChatGPT came out, and for those of you who don't know what ChatGPT is, it's the OpenAI generative AI language model that you can basically tap into and get. I use it every day, more or less. Not so much when it first came out. I don't think we've really hit that where we see generative AI in our businesses. Some, because the thing that I see as a consumer is like getting bombarded by all these different software programs. And I started to use Vizard, which is it cuts my content automatically and it slices it up, as Gary says, document, slice it up and then post out to your networks, because I don't have enough time to do it myself manually. I do these live shows every day now because it's far more easier. That's my content strategy. And for anybody that's starting a business in 2024, it all starts with content, because we live, it's not rocket science. We all live our lives on our phones, and we're going through our phones, we're doing doom scrolling, we're going through it. Oh, is that interesting? I'll stop. And whether it's an advert, a live podcast like this, or anything else, we're going to stop and have a look at it. And it doesn't matter what brand you are, you have to be on a phone. You have to be on a social network, because that's where people are. We live, okay. We live our lives on our phones these days. That's the real world. We don't always really pay that much attention, I don't think. With the billboards, they still work. TV ads, which are not really done well, I don't think. And that's not really going to change. And it's really those of you who are smart enough to leverage generative AI with social media marketing enough so that it takes out the legwork and the hard work that you're doing. So now I've got more time to focus on my thought leadership, because certainly with this new content strategy, I've been able to just do one live broadcast per day, slice it up automatically, send it out to my networks, and it's probably got less chance of going viral, which is always the hope, I guess, for most of us, because I don't concentrate on that one video. But I'd rather be on 15 different platforms than one. And that's really the power of software. But you're still going to have to investigate, those of you start a new business, you're still going to have to investigate, okay, would people buy this? And B2B here on LinkedIn is still harder than ever, because there's now 1 billion people right here on LinkedIn. So the bandwidth is more difficult to get any traction on any product, service, ad, even paid ad. Okay, it will get smaller, and some of the more better ways to market brands is the content you produce out. But newsletters are a winner here on LinkedIn. I've only got just over 4,000 subscribers, but it's a magazine. It's growing. It's small, but I hope to increase that in size. And that's quite, I think, in business, and especially with social media marketing today and generative AI, you still need that skill to find out, do I have my leverage? And for me personally, I have a fair amount of leverage on LinkedIn, not a huge amount as I used to. The algorithm is squashing down my thought leadership because there's just more people on the platform. So, I don't produce 100 pieces of content per day. I'd say in the region of about 7 to 15 a new strategy, which is enough for me. And you don't want to burn yourself out. And I think sometimes there is that, okay, a lot of people waste time on thinking about the business idea or the actual ad, spending too much time on the ad and not actually having a brand on the platform. For me, I broadcast daily. I go live daily here because I want to cut into that feed of doom scrolling and I want to stop you in your track. That's my content strategy. And lots of people go live. And, you know, I'm trying to promote my mental health series, which I sell to you guys here on TikTok. Those of you are not aware, a little bit of insight news. TikTok is changing the series. For those who are creators, I'm a creator on TikTok. So I'm hoping to leverage that up enough so that I can even possibly, you know, I think I've got the knowledge, okay, to compete with the likes of LinkedIn Learning and Udemy, which are online learning platforms built into LinkedIn Learning is where you can have courses. And on TikTok, it hasn't really taken off, but I'm hoping to leverage that up. That's my kind of USP for going into 2024. Those of you, I'm going back to TikTok here. Those of you who don't know what a USP is your unique selling point. And every business, okay, it's the basics of business. Every business needs to have their USP. And I think that's, you know, those of you, the bigger brands here on LinkedIn, finding the company and even your own personal brand. If you're a founder, most of your founders that watch my content, retuning your USP aligned with generative AI and modern social media marketing. Lots of big words there. It's not easy, you know, and you know, for me, it's easier because I'm just really a thought leader. Although I'm pushing a mental health series until I get momentum, that'll give me capital to fund my other brands. And I've been waiting for that for a long time, and that's all right with me. I've got time runway. I don't need massive capital investment, not yet. So I'm still working on my business. Some of you who want to start a business in 2024 always ask the question, how can I raise money? And, you know, the UK funding is nowhere near the level of the US market. Seed funding, they call it. Focus more on experimentation at the start of the business and see where your expertise can offer something. Look at a problem, solve it. And it's really about, if you know nothing about hotels, what is the point of you opening a hotel? Is there an opportunity? Can you do it? Is it going to be worthwhile? If somebody, you know, you've inherited a hotel for some reason, and now you want to start a brand on that hotel. You've got one, so you're up and running, you've got one hotel, or you want to start a mobile phone business where you fix phones online and you give out to third world countries, for instance. There's loads of ideas that people are coming up with, but they don't really execute on just having a go at it. And I think that's a fundamental problem we have in society. And I think this is where I support Simon Squibb, reteaching what, I mean, when I taught business in schools and colleges, some of it was a lot of it relevant, but we didn't really focus a lot on the business model. We focused more on the mission statement and the old-fashioned way I teach in marketing, which is the 4P model: price, product, promotion, place, which are important, but it's really the ability, what I've learned recently from another interview, what graduates really want to know is the ability to design new frameworks, and this is for businesses as well, the ability to redesign frameworks to suit your needs in your business. So that really comes to the business development. And I think for definitely the B2B brands here on LinkedIn and those that are on TikTok as well, this would be good for you. Business development in 2024, it won't be solely written on AI, but if you can align generative AI to make it easier for you, I think that's going to be worthwhile, but you're still going to have to do your market research. Culture change, life change, people's income change. It doesn't matter whether you're Google or you're just a startup and you want to sell a new water, for instance. You have to follow the market and see. The trick is that I've learned from social media is where the algorithm plays strength to your content, and does your brand value, your value prop, what you're offering to consumers, does that sit in well? And it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm doing this podcast today live. It's just not sponsored. One day I might get a sponsor. I don't know. But I enjoy it. And I think, at the back there, I've got, you can't see these TikTokers, but I've got my Empathy Leadership magazine and a little promo at the back there. I want to push that. I want to grow it this year to 1 million subscribers. Now, I think the algorithm will play out well for that. So I've got an achievement, a target. And I want to sell the magazine. Yeah, I don't want to keep it long. And it's always been my ambition. So I've got a good magazine brand, Empathy Leadership Magazine. Empathy being the #1 leadership skill, as we know here from the LinkedIn community. That's all the businesses. Those of you who are on TikTok, empathy is a great skill that we need in mental health and also in leadership, because when you start a business, it's really hard. You've got to wear so many hats. And, 5 years into my thought leadership, thought leader is like an expert for those of you who don't know. I'm still buzzing, as in I'm excited. I'm excited to help people to grow my brands. Once I get the business model has taken me so long to get right. Once I got that one viral business model connection, when I say viral, I'm hoping to go viral on my mental health courses on TikTok, where I can generate very good revenue on a daily basis and offer. I can, my expertise. I can teach a lot of subjects, and I want to squash down the cost of education. I think a degree is too expensive, and I think it's important to keep it low. So that's really, I've covered a lot of ground now for you. You want to start a business in 2024. And my last real conversation is, I'm wearing my fitness top here. I am going into the gym at 2:00 after this show. Forward to that. 5 minutes around mental health conversation on starting a new gym in 2024. Those TikTokers, I apologize, you can't see this, but on my LinkedIn profile, I've got gym 5 hashtags. This is good for starting a business as well. On LinkedIn, I do recommend it for B2B selling. Start a personal brand. What does that mean? Shoot up a video, talk about your expertise. I'm a qualified personal trainer. I'm also ex-military, and I love keeping fit. Even despite my health conditions and physical and mental health, I still want to keep my best chance of living happier. So when you want to start a new gym, how do you know which gym? Go and experiment. Try something. Go in there. Speak to the staff. If they're friendly. Some of you can't afford a gym. I appreciate that. The cost has gone up for every single gym I know across the UK. All the major brands. Some of the other private gyms, in fact, are more expensive than the actual national brands because the cost, they can't really compete with the electricity, for example. So get yourself in there, do a trial workout, and experiment where you feel comfortable. This is my best advice for the day, really. Whenever you're training physically and even mentally, as you go into a gym or even outdoor training, which I do prefer, but for health reasons, I've got to train indoors at the moment. I would say to you, where you feel comfortable working out, that's where you need to be. And if you can afford to work out where you feel comfortable in a top gym where it's got the saunas and all that kind of stuff, and that helps your mental health, great, go for it. Don't be too quick to tie yourself into a contract. If you're in a state where you think, you know what, I've got to pay 40, I've just done some market research, it's about £40 average now in my town to go to a gym. That's a 12-month contract. That's a lot of money for the cost of living crisis. And I think some of the major brands, and this is a lot for the LinkedIn community, that they're falling short on that, because then they're asking for consumers to pay more, but they're not going to give you anything more. So, do you know what I mean? So you've got to work that one out for yourself. But you do need to train. Why? Because it's good for your mental fitness. And, you know, without going to immense detail where I speak about mental health every day, you know, keeping fit is good. It's fun. You can do classes. I'm hoping to start some classes, as in me teach them, in my Eastbourne community. I'm doing it from my local Anytime Fitness, which is my gym that I've chosen to train with, because I like teaching and it's fun. I like doing cycling, spinning classes. That's what I'm good at. And I think once you find anything you find fun, you'll do more. The problem we have with January, as everybody knows, is that everybody, oh yeah, January, yeah, I'm going to smash it out, going to get fit, new year, new career, all the rest of it. And then by February, March, it kind of goes like that, it goes down. So it's hard to keep it up. I know. I'm the same. But yeah, so that's the end of the show, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. I knew, apologies for the background. Those are my other social media channels. TikTok, I love you. I'll speak to you in a minute. And that's it. I hope everybody has a really, really good New Year's Eve tomorrow. I will be going live tomorrow at 1 o'clock UK time. If you've not seen me before, some of you, my friends and family, are watching the show. Great. Hope you're doing well. I'll be live on the same platforms. In the new year, I'll be going on more platforms to expand my reach across social media. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you for joining me in today's News for You podcast. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye for now.